Some mornings are made for slowing down. I sometimes light a candle, make some coffee, and open my laptop, not to rush, but to reset. This is how I check in with my reselling business and my life. I'll show you how I budget, set boundaries with sourcing, and make sure everything still feels aligned. It's not perfect, but it's honest.
Say hi, Mar. So the first thing I like to do is I am pretty old school. I like to write down my budget and I like to just do a little, I guess you could say, monthly reset. So I'll give you a little close-up of this and I'll kind of talk and probably take a picture of this to show you kind of what I'm talking about as we go through it. So, this is going to be for June. So I usually separate it by two categories. So I have life and I have reselling. So on the life side, I always try to budget for my actual bills. So that would be rent, gas, groceries, and then miscellaneous or extra bills that are like fixed bills. That could be like, electricity, whatever, things like that. So the next thing is reselling, and basically what I have here is my sharing and cross-listing platform, my sourcing, my shipping supplies, and or setting a portion as well for taxes. So when I am looking at a budget, typically I have been trying to make changes for my reselling business, and that means that I am looking for an active part-time / full-time job. So with that, I'm really trying to focus on not overspending and really kind of paring down and figuring out picking up things that are going to sell for me and not take up space, not be super time consuming to list and things like that, while I kind of figure out my transition for the next aspect of my life. Sorry, my cat's down here and she's got her tunnel under here. So when it comes to sourcing, I have a budget for myself of $120 for the full month. So that means on average, I am spending about $30 a week. Now, again, everybody's budget is going to be different. Everybody's situation is going to be different. So I'm just sharing with you what I do and how it helps me kind of stay mindful of my budget and just mindful of the things that I'm trying to work towards. The reason I have a budget and the reason in the past I have decided to go for a budget is because it really helps me when I am outsourcing. So let's say I'm at the bins and everything is super cheap. It would be really, really easy for me to justify going over that, budget that I set for myself because the items are super cheap. But that doesn't allow me to be intentional with what I'm purchasing. So if I'm just going out and I'm picking stuff up because it's $1 and I'm coming home and I'm like, I could probably still sell it for $15. To me and for my business, that would not be intentional. I'm trying to be a little bit more intentional and just kind of stick to that budget because it really helps me to not overspend or overbuy. So lately, I've really been limiting on how often I am going to the thrift store and or sourcing items. In the past, I used to go 3 to 4, sometimes 5 days a week, just casually browsing the thrift store. If I come across any new inventory, that's great and everything like that. But what that led me to do was just overbuy and, to be honest with you, go over my budget. So for me, right now, I'm trying to limit that. I'm really only trying to go to the Goodwill outlet right now just because my cost of goods are a lot cheaper there. So to keep to my $120 budget, I'm trying only going to the bins once with maybe an occasional thrift store at the end of the week just to sprinkle in a few things very, very rarely. Also, when I am sourcing, now I know a lot of people say this and they do talk about just going to the thrift store and kind of being open-minded, but what I have found and what has been a challenge for me is that when I am open-minded at the thrift store, it also leads me to overbuy. So what I like to do is maybe the day before or maybe that morning when I'm getting ready, I will look at my analytics that I have. I have analytics through Vendu, which is my cross-listing service that I use, or just Poshmark in general or eBay. I'll go in there and I'll see what's actually selling for me. Like, are dresses selling for me? What brands are selling for me? Is it Free People? Is it Anthropologie? Is it Lululemon? I'll really take note and write it in my little phone app. So that way when I go sourcing, I know what categories to focus on. For me personally, shoes do not sell for me. I have tried and they just sit in my closet. Everyone's closet is going to be different and everyone's items that they come across are going to be different. So for me, this is really important. And I will sit there and I will go through, okay, I'm going to look for dresses. I'm going to look for a larger size dress because I notice they're selling a lot faster for me. Or I'm going to look for Lululemon leggings. This is just an example because they're selling fast for me. And the reason I'm doing this is so when I come across something at the thrift store, just because it's a good brand does not mean that I need to pick it up. So maybe I come across some Good American jeans. For me personally, Good American doesn't sell, but maybe for you it does. So I'm taking note of the things that sell for me and the things that are not selling for me, and I'm choosing to leave them behind. In this season of life that I'm going through right now, I'm not trying to bulk up my store. I have done a really good job with decluttering, and I'm right around like 1,270 items. And for me, until I find a part-time job, I am kind of going to keep it there. I know in my vlog, I talked about wanting to really declutter, and I was kind of in a headspace to declutter, but I still need to generate some sales and income from reselling. So I'm not trying to pare down too much, but I do plan to do that in the possible future or near future. It's just get my store under control. For me personally, over 1,000 listings is just too much to handle. But for right now, I, again, am not trying to grow that store, but I'm just trying to add enough to the store that'll keep it afloat. That might be 10 to 15 items a week. Everyone's different. I sell around like 20 to 25 items a week. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. So for me, I'm trying to slowly, keep my inventory at a good number, if that makes sense. Okay, back to my planner. So on this side, I write my goals, and I'll pop up the picture again for you guys to talk about it. But every month, I like to sit down and really ask myself, what am I aiming for? And these goals are usually never financial goals for me personally. I'm not a financial person. I'm not really into a lot of the numbers and the analytics for like the numbers side, That might be a flaw that I have with being my own business owner, that I don't really like the finance side, but I really don't. So I try to make goals that are 1, achievable, 2, that are going to make me feel good when I look at my list again, and 3, that I'm setting myself up for success. In the past, I've had very lofty goals of, I'm going to reach $4,000 or $5,000. And when the month would end and I didn't get to that goal, I would feel like everything I did for that month wasn't good enough. And I didn't like that feeling. So in this season of life, I'm changing that. I'm getting away from the hustle. I'm getting away from needing certain things from my business. And I'm really just letting my business kind of run the way that I want it to run. And I want it to be an asset to my life, but I don't want it to be my whole life. You know, reselling's great and everything, to each their own, but reselling for me is not a full-time job anymore, and I need to treat it that way. I'm trying to put my attention in, you know, applying for jobs, attention into other things that are going to fill my bucket, I guess you could say, instead of just reselling. For my goals, I would like to list 15 to 20 items a week. So that is roughly 60 to 80 new items a month. Some people may do way more than that. As you will see also on my channel, I have really kind of gotten away from that hustle mindset, that hustle culture, huge, large hauls, huge sales reports. It's not really my thing. It's not what I'm gonna show on my channel. So just bear in mind when I go over my goals, these are just what's gonna work for me. So I am gonna stick to $120 a month, which is $30 a week. Some may say that's not possible. I say it is. I am very fortunate. I do have a Goodwill outlet that is, you know, kind of in relative to me. So I am going to use that as a way to keep my cost of goods low. I am going to sprinkle in thrift stores, but it's not going to be my main priority with thrift stores, if I'm being honest with you. It might be on a Friday that I pop in and maybe find like 3 items. So another big goal for me is I'm allowing time for rest. Rest, in the past, I have not done this. And this has really led me to burnout with reselling. It's really led me to not really like reselling, if I'm being honest with you. So for me personally, I need time for rest. This means taking days off where I'm not reselling, where I'm not listing, I'm not photographing. And for me in my business, that's okay. I'm not running a business where I have to be listing every day. It's just not gonna work for me. It's not what I want in my business. I want there to be balance, and that's why I wrote it as my goal. So another goal, this is kind of more a little bit on the personal side, is I would like to apply to 10 jobs a week. So for me, I'm also trying to be mindful about the jobs that I apply for. When I started early on last month, I realized that I was applying to jobs that maybe weren't fully transparent, you know, about the hours, the pay, whatever, yada yada. So I'm really trying to take the time to look at the jobs, read them, research the company, look at like where it is in proximity to me, and just really put myself there and see, is this a position that I could apply for? Is this a job that I would generally enjoy doing? And slowing down and really just applying to the jobs that, you know, this is again being intentional. Like, I don't want to apply for a job and go to an interview just to realize that I'm like, Taylor, you probably shouldn't have applied for this job, because there were a little bit of red flags in the job posting to begin with. So just trying to take the time to do that. And then also for personal is I am really trying to cut back on just impulse purchases and impulse buys. So I put down have no spend days. This means reselling and personal. I want days where I don't spend money. And I know it's kind of hard in this day and age because, you know, sometimes you're like, oh, I forgot something from, you know, the grocery store, so I have to pop over to the grocery store. But really just being mindful of, you know, $10 here doesn't seem like much, but it does add up over the week and over the month. That could be an extra $150 that you could put in your savings or anything like that. And then another one is just putting money towards savings. So I didn't put a set number that I'd want to put for savings, but each month I like to put money towards my savings, or my emergency fund, I like to call it. I like to have money there. I'd rather have the money saved for a rainy day than just spend the money on Starbucks or spend the money at Sephora or something like that on things that I don't really need and I could kind of go without. So yeah, those are my goals for the month of June.
I'm not gonna lie, there have been moments where I've questioned everything. Am I doing enough? Am I falling behind? But I'm reminding myself that slowing down isn't failure. It's something I feel that a lot of us struggle with, as well as also need to do sometimes. The right job will come, the good sourcing days will come back, and this season, this reset isn't a setback, it's a part of the process.
So if you are going through a reset, maybe it's in life, maybe it's in reselling, just know that you're not alone. These moments are not forever and they do pass. I would also love to know how you guys are budgeting and, what budget tips and tricks you use to help yourself during these times. Do you have a set budget for sourcing? I would love to know. I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.